Hey everyone, Argent here with kind of an unusual reactionary review. So this was a movie I just watched today. I had heard this term a lot lately and I had never really known what it meant. So I read about it and I just thought it was fascinating, the whole concept of gaslighting. So I said, well, maybe I'll go watch the movie it's based on and do a review of it, just so people will know what the origin of this is. So for those of you who don't know, gaslighting is a technique normally used by sociopaths and people with narcissistic personality disorder to try to make you question your own sanity in a broad sense. But not only that, to make you question certain events, to make you question your own moral fiber. It's a way to basically just whittle away at somebody's faith in something. So an example might be questioning someone's version of events. Like the person might be, oh, I checked those numbers on the presentation. They'll be like, no, I don't think you checked those numbers. In fact, I'm certain you didn't check them. And someone will criticize, might do that. And basically they'll just keep insisting on something, even if there's no evidence. Like, you ate the last cookie, you ate the last cookie, and they'll just keep insisting on it. And eventually, even if you know for a fact that you didn't eat the last cookie, you might start to break down and question your version of reality. And proper gaslighting comes at it from multiple different angles. So it might be verbal, it might also be, they might do something to try to make you doubt it. I mean, if they're really sociopathic, what they might do, using a previous example, is you'll send them, I don't know, a presentation or something, and they'll change some numbers on it and send it back to you, and be like, oh, I thought you said you checked this. These numbers are wrong. And you'll be like, but they weren't like that when I sent it to you. And they're like, well, you're just crazy. That's obviously not the case. And the thing is, it's very hard to prove this sort of thing. That's one of the most insidious parts about it. And another part of gaslighting is often concern trolling people. A concern troll is when you are trying to hurt someone by pretending to be their advocate or pretending to be for them. Like, an example would be going to liberals and be like, how can you support Islam with the way it treats women? And that's a form of concern trolling, because you aren't necessarily concerned about that issue yourself and you're not on that side. You're trying to sow dissent or injure that person or their cause by pretending to be on their side. So it might be like, oh, I want to help you to be more cautious. Oh, you're kleptomaniac, or you keep eating all the food. I'm here to help you with it. And kind of the fake attempt to empathize with you makes you doubt that the person's actively trying to screw you. So it's a combination of kind of a confidence trick, manipulation, alternating between being harsh and kind to someone. And the ultimate way is just to make the person, once they start to kind of question their reality, they start to go along with whatever the person is saying. So that's basically gaslighting in a nutshell. So let's talk a bit about the movie, because the movie was actually pretty good. This is the movie it was based off of, and I'll explain where the term gaslighting comes from in a minute with regards to the movie. So the movie opens with an opera singer being murdered. After she's murdered, the perpetrator bolts. He had been there to try to get, I think it was like 20,000 pounds worth of rubies. I'm not sure what that is. Let me just look this up. I'm a professional. So I think that's about 800,000 pounds, so a fortune. So he wanted to get them, but he didn't have time, so he ran away. He ran away because a child, Paula, later played by Ingrid Bergman, catches him, and he can't kill her too. He doesn't know if there's someone else there, so he just runs away. So Paula's sent to Italy, and she's taught opera. She's going to become an opera singer just like her aunt. However, while she's kind of trying to forget the whole thing, she runs into a man named Gregory. And Gregory is this really smooth, he's handsome, he's charming, he's confident, and he convinces her to fall in love with him over a period of about 2 weeks. So he's just completely charmed her. He's presented himself as basically being the supreme gentleman. And he takes her back to Britain with him. So she abandons her dream of being an opera star to be his wife. So when they come back, they go to the townhouse that her aunt had died in. I think you can probably see where this is going. It's kind of obvious. And because she inherited it from her aunt. So she doesn't really want to be there because her aunt was killed there in front of her. So Gregory's like, okay, we'll take all the old furniture and stuff and we'll put it up in the attic. So when they're doing that, Paula discovers a letter addressed to her by a man named Sergius Bauer, dated only 2 days before the murder, tucked away in a music book. That is probably the man who killed her, which I'm pretty sure we all know who that is. So Gregory gets really angry and grabs the letter. He, however, quickly composes himself and says, oh, I wasn't angry that you almost exposed me for killing your aunt. I was just upset. I was just upset that you found this letter from your aunt and that it causes you so much pain. I don't like to see you in pain, honey, because I just love you. I love you so much. She's like, oh, you're so sweet. And then he takes the letter away. So Alice's belongings are put into the attic and the door is blocked from the inside. So after this, things start getting weird. An heirloom brooch that was given her by Gregory disappears, despite it being in her handbag. So obviously what happened is he reached into her bag and took it out. But he's like, you lost my heirloom brooch. It's been in my family for hundreds of years. How could you do that to me? I gave this to you as a sign of my love. So, yeah, so then a picture disappears from the walls on the house. And this keeps happening. And every time it happens, Paula finds it in the same place. And every time it happens, Gregory is like, well, you keep stealing things. You keep stealing them and you keep putting them in different places. And he's like, show me where it is. Show me where you've put it. And she leads him to where she keeps finding it. And he's like, look, you stole it and you put it here. Why do you keep doing this to me? Now, obviously, she's not behind any of this. And she knows she's not behind any of this. But he's just so insistent. He's so confident in it that she's starting to believe him, and she's starting to believe that she's going insane. So there's a bunch of other stuff happening. Paula starts hearing footsteps coming from the sealed attic, and she sees the gas lights dim and brighten for no apparent reason. So Gregory suggests that these are all just figments of Paula's imagination. So he starts to try to isolate her from all her previous friends on the grounds that it upsets her too much, or that that the friends upset her, or that he can't let her be seen by them for her own good until she gets better. Her friends can't see her. They can't see how crazy she's become. So he tells her that she's a kleptomaniac. So yeah, so he just keeps taking things, hiding them, accusing her of stealing them, just denying obvious things that are happening, and she slowly goes insane. So he takes her outside, and whenever people talk to her, he pulls her away, or he tells those people, and this is the gaslighting technique, oh, she's gone crazy. There's something wrong with her. Oh, she's paranoid. She keeps stealing stuff. And then other people don't take her seriously. So that's part of gaslighting, is to ridicule the person in public, which kind of helps to reinforce the image, but it also makes it so that other people won't believe them. Because if other people aren't going to believe them, like, I don't know, let's say you go to the shooting range and your friend's like, oh, this is Argent. He's still just like, he's just still learning the guns. He's just kind of a baby on guns. And I might have been shooting guns since I was like 8 years old. And that's a way to gaslight people. So if you insist differently later, people are going to think you're crazy or lying. It's to sow the seeds of doubt. Or it's like, oh, that Argent, he tells all these big fish tales or whatever. So yeah. So while this is happening, the young maid is having an affair with her husband, and she is rude to her, and she flirts with her husband. And Gregory encourages that, but whenever she points it out, he tells her that she's jealous and paranoid, and is imagining it. So what's happening is every night he sneaks into the attic and he rummages through her aunt's stuff to try and find those rubies that he couldn't find previously. And when he's up there, he lights the gas lights, and that's what causes the gas lights downstairs to flicker, is the gas going to the other light. So he's literally gaslighting her. So his whole plan is that he's going to get her declared insane. So if he gets her declared insane, then he can seize all the money she's inherited, and he can look for the jewels unimpeded. So this almost works, but she runs into an inspector of Scotland Yard who sees Paula, and he's like, geez, she looks a lot like that opera singer who got killed years ago. I was a big fan of hers. And so he talks to her, and he starts to look into the case again. And he hadn't actually heard about the jewels before, and things just kind of keep going, and he starts investigating the case. And what really kind of gets him onto it is Paula and Gregory are at a music gathering, and Gregory just keeps slipping stuff into her purse, taking it out. He just keeps telling her, you have to stop embarrassing me in public. I'm your husband. You're embarrassing me in public with your wicked ways. I'm sorry I ever married you. And he does this in public, and he just berates her. So essentially what ends up happening is Gregory goes out with the thought maid. So they go out, and the inspector comes in, and Paula and her look through to find, and they've managed to find evidence. However, Gregory is upstairs, looking through the stuff, and the gas lights start to flicker. So Gregory comes in and tries to attack her, threatening to kill her dog. But what winds up happening is, I think he locks her in her room. Sorry, I'm getting a little confused reading the plot summary. So yeah, so he finally finds the jewels that he had sought for so long. They were all disguised as costume jewelry. So they looked like they were cheap jewelry, but all the rubies were actually real. So he's running away, and he's got it. But the detective succeeds in arresting him. So they tie him up to a chair after knocking him out. So Paula indulges in a bit of revenge as she tortures Gregory after he's been bound to a chair. She has like a knife, and she's like, I have this knife. This knife doesn't exist. It's not going to exist when I stab you with it. And then she pretends that she's going to let him get away. But in the end, she, of course, doesn't, and he gets arrested and goes to jail and is presumably executed for first-degree murder. So that's the film Gaslight. Charles Boyer does a really good job. It's well acted. It's a good movie, especially for a movie from the 1940s, which I normally don't like. It's very Hitchcockian. I think they actually make reference to Hitchcock a bunch of times in the movie. But no, it was a good film. So I think that kind of gives you an idea of how narcissists behave, how people with sociopathic, narcissistic personality characteristics deal with people. They basically destroy the person's confidence in themselves and their confidence in the external world that they perceive, as well as other people's confidence in that person. The idea is to make the person go insane while also increasing that person's dependency on you. Part of it is isolating that person from other people while you lower their self-esteem, so they're completely emotionally dependent upon you. So this is how gaslighting works. Be on the watch for this, out for this, because this is very common, and a lot of the time, if someone's doing it to you, what's so insidious about it is you think that the person's actually just that you're being paranoid. That this person's not actually gaslighting me. I'm just paranoid. I'm just seeing stuff that's not there. But the person probably actually is gaslighting you. That's how it works. If they're gaslighting you properly, it means you do. It means that you should think you're crazy, because that's how it goes about. And other people will think you're crazy if you tell them about it. So I haven't really figured out how you're supposed to deal with it. But if you can realize it's happening, then you can kind of see through the way that person's acting, and you can prevent them from isolating you and destroying your confidence. Maybe you play along. I don't know exactly. But that's the movie Gaslight. I hope you enjoyed this reaction review. Talk to you later.